Or when Aloke Bajpai from IXIGO joins us for a quick chat at the UP Investor Summit. Aloke, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us about how UP is a big state for attracting tourists and how any number you could give us with respect to payments or bookings from your on your portal.
Sure. So UP is actually the largest source for our user base, right? Like if I tell you the numbers, we do about 150 million users a year, and UP is contributing between 15 and 20% of that. Lucknow is actually the number one city from which we get users every single day. And I think some of it has to do with obviously how much deep we are on the train side of the business and bus, because most of tier 2, 3, 4 cities in UP are connected largely by train and bus. But it's also about the growing share of wallet that we are seeing from customers in UP. Today, on an annual basis, we are doing about 8,000 crores of ticket bookings, and we want to grow that almost 2x in the next 2 years. And more than 10% of that should actually come from Uttar Pradesh, right? So we are expecting close to $200 million of worth of bookings to start coming from Uttar Pradesh in a year. And the potential is there because if you look at digital penetration, UPI penetration, and the fact that travel is bouncing back, लास्ट के एक साल में आप देख रहे हैं कि लोगों की फ्रीक्वेंसी बढ़ गई है. People are taking more trips, they're spending more, share of wallet of travel and tourism is going up, and we are benefiting from all those trends, and Uttar Pradesh is benefiting the most from all those trends because we have the top religious sites for Hinduism, the top religious sites for Buddhism, and we also have some of the best landscapes and unexplored towns, and the oldest town in the world, in fact, right, Varanasi. So these assets, I think, are helping us drive more tourism into this market, and also we have seen UP has emerged as one of those cities where we are seeing a transition from people who used to take train, have started looking at taking a flight. Connectivity has improved. There are more airports. In fact, two big new airports are coming up. One in Ayodhya, of course, the biggest one in Jewar, which will be the largest airport in Asia. With these developments, we expect UP to become the epicenter for travel and tourism growth in the country.
Right. Look, I'll also ask you about how the company is doing with respect to bookings. Now the travel is back to its pre-pandemic levels. How are you anticipating the growth of the industry now?
Yeah, so fortunately for us, because we were focused on the next billion user market, the tier 2, 3, 4 market, and largely around trains and bus, and obviously Udan routes for flights. The growth in these areas has been phenomenal, right? So today, IXIGO is at close to 5 times of our pre-COVID scale by virtue of focusing on this segment. And I think a large part of that is also attributable to the fact that, look, we've been very focused on customer experience. We have processed refunds on time during COVID. Last 2, 3 years, the industry has struggled with cancellation, rescheduled refunds, and we solved those problems, made them automated. We've also tapped the opportunity of the new sectors that Udan scheme has brought up. In fact, we've spent a lot of time and energy to figure out how we could look at converting some of the people who don't find a train, who are waitlisted on a train, right? How do we put them on a bus or a flight, right? How can we find those alternates very easily? And by virtue of that, we've seen our traffic and our bookings grow phenomenally.
Right. I was speaking to some hotel experts, tourism experts as well. Hotel occupancy rate is close to about 90%, again at the pre-pandemic levels. Tell us about any interesting trend at IXIGO that you must have highlighted or seen with respect to bookings or travel. Could you share some of that, please?
Sure. So, we are seeing a bounce back which is unprecedented, right, coming out of COVID. But the issue now is on the supply side, right? Like if you look at the air capacity, most of the airlines are running at 90% plus occupancy. Hotels are running at 90% plus occupancy. And I think the supply addition hasn't kept up pace. Because the industry has been a little cautious in terms of adding capacity. And hotel side, obviously, the capacity addition will take more time. But the interesting trend there is the prices are much higher today. Both on the air side and on the hotel side, prices are up by between 25% to 40%, depending on the sector or the destination. Despite that, you are seeing air is back to pre-COVID levels already, despite paying higher fares. Hotel, very hard to find a room on over a weekend at any leisure destination in the country today. I think these are green shoots for what is yet to come. we will see an unprecedented continuation of revenge travel over the next 12 to 18 months. International travel has only just opened up. There is still, we are seeing only 60 to 70% of capacity has come back there. So all that is going to come back over the next year or two. And all the travel industry players are going to benefit from it. You must have seen the airlines, the hospitality industry, everyone has had superb quarters. Last quarter was record profits for the major airlines, the major hotel chains, and the OTAs. And I think that trend is likely to continue over the next year or two.
Right, Alok, last question to you. The budget was recently announced. The industry is all not really happy with the provisions in the budget for tourism and travel and hospitality. They're seeking more relief. There are constant recommendations to the government, but very hardly listened by the government. So, what do you think? Two or three major issues that the government could probably step in and support the industry with?
I think the issue of the the how the tax is done on ATF has been an issue for a while, right? And I think bringing it under the GST ambit and being able to get benefit of that, has been something that the industry has been asking for on the aviation side. But I would say that what impressed me about this budget was the emphasis on infrastructure. See, if we want to grow travel and tourism, we have to start at the base, create enough airports, create enough high-speed rail networks. Today, on most of the busy train routes, the government cannot add a train without increasing the average speed on those routes. And unless we have enough Vande Bharat trains running or Tejas trains running or high-speed trains running, it's going to be very hard to sort of upgrade the capacity. But we see the government doing that every single week. You're seeing a new Vande Bharat train being inaugurated. We are seeing the plan to bring in 70 new airports over the next few years, right? In fact, we've added 70 airports in the last 9 years, right? And I think this is this is going to lead to the next wave of demand growth, right? So I think we're laying the bricks right now, which is the right way to think about it. I don't think a quick fix solution is needed today.
Anu, but what about the airfares and the hotel fares? Do you think they'll still continue to be high?
I think we are seeing some softening of that as we head into February. We've seen that they have started to soften. Of course, oil prices last year were at very high levels. Some of that has also eased off. Thankfully, we have access to cheaper sources of oil in our country, and we are able to live with levels which are just about 25-30% higher than pre-COVID. But if you look at international markets, for many international routes, the fares would be 50 to 60% higher than what they were pre-COVID. So domestically, I think we are still, even though it's higher, but it's within bearable, tolerable limits. The customers are willing to pay for it. That's why we've gone back to the pre-COVID demand. And the airlines, fortunately, are now able to make money and recover the losses that they had during the COVID times. Yeah.
What's up at IXIGO? Any new plans to venture further, expansion? Give us those details.
Yeah, so, obviously we are now the most downloaded travel app in the country. We've become the 8th most downloaded travel app in the world, and we have, the highest monthly active users in our category. We've also become the second largest OTA by revenue as of last year and continuing this year. I think we want to double down on areas beyond just transportation because we've been big on trains, buses and flights. We definitely want to look at opportunities in the hotel segment and other segments where the travelers to these cities might look for content. We want to see how we can provide meaningful content inside our apps, right? So we are working in these directions.
Thank you so much, Aloke. Thank you.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.